Our story ignites with a chaotic scene, a rocky landscape under a turbulent sky. Strange, stylized characters hover in the air. A figure lies prone, bloodied and seemingly defeated. Another figure looms in the background. Haha floats, as expected. We then see a close-up of Kale's intense blue eye, blood smeared around it. Below, another figure lies injured amidst the rocky terrain. You're different from those pieces of trash. The scene widens again, revealing a desolate landscape littered with what appear to be bodies. The perspective zooms in on Kale's face, now contorted in anguish. Command, shut up. His expression a mix of pain and a disturbing wide grin. A desperate plea. Kill me. You're the only one who deserves to kill me. Eyes glowing with an intense red light. A firm refusal. I don't think so. I'm not the one who's going to kill you. I promised my comrades. Above, a declaration of intent. I will make sure you stand before the judgment of law and be put on death row. I still regret it. Reveal the weight of his past actions. Below, a voice declares, you shall be judged according to the law. He thinks in present to killed him back then. The scene shifts to a breaking news of the villain been sentenced to death. The villain is being transported to the death chamber with armed men while wearing a power-limiting device. Now we are told about the prison where most bad villains are imprisoned. The protagonist watches the TV, gritting his teeth, with another announcement of Hero's funeral happening tonight. From behind the protagonist, his brother shuts down the TV, asking why he is watching TV while being sick. The MC thinks his brother is warden in the prison. The focus shifts to Seo Kang-yu, looking unwell, with a bandage on his cheek. He speaks with resentment. That Hwang Sung-hwan, his brother, Seo Kang-ho, the warden, sits beside him. Should have killed him with my own hands, regretting his past self. Seo Kang-ho looks down at his brother with concern. Kang-wai-yu, didn't you promise your colleagues? The perspective shifts to one of the fallen heroes. A hero's job is to save people, not to kill them. And no matter how heinous a villain is, you shouldn't just kill them. They're also human, so they have the right to a trial by law. One questioning the risk. But what if in doing so, we are the ones who end up dead? The other demands. Promise me. A gathering of the equality heroes, with the blonde woman leading. And no matter what happens, you won't kill a person. Looking at her frustrated, Seo Kang-yu brother agrees with the statement. Seo Kang-yu and the warden discuss the legal process. States, only the law can judge people. Of course, it's U.S. wardens who enforce it. This is classified, but Hwang Sung-hwan will be executed next week. I'll also be taking part in it. The warden reassures his brother. You've fulfilled your role as hero. Leave the finishing touch to U.S. prison officers. So, let's go. The warden reaches out a supportive hand, saying, and say goodbye to your colleagues. The scene then showed a close-up of a table laden with flowers, a personal memorial to the fallen heroes. A scene of public outcry. A crowd of people hold signs and shout, their expressions filled with anger and grief. Now shows the images of all the fallen heroes while Seo Kang and his brother standing there respecting and remembering the heroes. Now, the story moved 1 week forward in time. Now, the narrative shifted to the day of Hwang Sung-hwan's execution. A metallic chamber. The words hanging, my brother died, with his brother image in middle. Seo Kang crying in shock, asking the reason why the one who should have been judged did not die, but his brother. An incense burning. Seo Kang sitting near the burial in shock. Suddenly a voice called for him. A woman with bodyguards greeting him. She is prison officer, asking him for a small talk while Seo Kang looks at her with swollen eyes. She passes a tablet with video paused in it while he inquires for what is that. Her telling that this is the video from today's execution. In the center, a figure with white hair, unmistakably Hwang Sung-hwan, was strapped upright to a metallic gurney. Several figures in dark uniforms and caps, presumably prison officers, stood around him. The perspective shifted to Hwang Sung-hwan. To his side stood Seo Kang brother in dark uniform, Hyu. Hwang Sung-hwan's head said, you look a lot like Hyu. Are you brothers? Hwang Sung-hwan's grin widened. So, the other brother doesn't have such abilities, and that's why he's working as a prison officer? Which one of you is the older brother? With no response from him, the scene went silent for a bit. Hwang Sung-hwan, containing a single word, you. Hwang Sung-hwan turned his head slightly towards the officer. What kind of feeling do you get after killing someone? His mouth was slightly agape, a single word filled with confusion. What? Villain telling him his role as he is prison officer. Hwang Sung-hwan on the left had a wide manic grin. You've killed people like me, haven't you? What does it feel like? His grin had softened slightly, replaced by a look of smug satisfaction. I feel a little disappointed. A close-up of the prison officer showed his face still etched with shock and distress. Disappointed? Huang Sung-hwan. His grin widened again, just a slight touch and they explode, like soap bubbles. His brother in shock, containing only ellipses, I am then explaining, even executing people like him he still felt guilt, even though he just pressed a button. Sitting up in bed, clutching his head with a look of distress. Nightmare. An older man with a weathered face and short, spiky hair sat hunched over in a chair. You too are a murderer, just like US. Now, prison officer in the execution chamber. The death row inmates I executed tormented me even in my dreams. Huang Sung-hwan, who was still strapped to the gurney, posed a pointed question. And yet, you still continue to work as a prison officer? The officer who has been speaking says, someone has to do it. As a prison officer, authority figure, commands, proceed with the execution of death row inmate. Huang Sung-hwan. The traditional question before an execution is asked, do you have any last words? Huang Sung-hwan asks a bizarre and pointed question. Which one of you two is the young, unseen speaker states with cold finality, let's begin the execution. Now, counting down to the execution. 3. A close-up focuses on Huang Sung-hwan strapped to the electric chair. 2. Ready to initiate the flow of electricity. 1. A blinding white light erupts from the center of the frame, radiating outwards in sharp, brilliant beams. The scene shifts abruptly. A video player interface is visible. The video appears to be paused. Man, his eyes wide with shock and disbelief. The blonde woman. The moment he was about to be executed, a mysterious EMP attack was launched. Static filled the screen, then cleared momentarily to reveal glimpses of panicked prison officers. Yelled into his radio, what? Power failure, wide-eyed with fear, shouting, the prisoner is. Huang Sung-hwan revealed his unsettling grin. As expected, I guess he's the only one capable of killing me. Amidst the turmoil, an officer screamed, everyone, get down! The image showed officers being thrown backwards by an unseen force. Sparks flew as something metallic was damaged, the sound echoing the destruction. One of the officers, clutching his radio, send backup. The death row inmate has unlocked the control device. I repeat, the death row inmate has unlocked the control. The white-haired inmate leaned in, a sinister smile on his face, his hand on the officer's shoulder. Suddenly, the officer started to expand as the villain smiled, saying, boom, exploding the officer into lump of blood. His brother in shock seeing live murder, while villain coming closer to him, asking he is young right. His brother taking out his baton to fight back as his last option, but with his flick of his hand has exploded. Now him crying in pain while the villain asks is he right isn't he? His brother struggling even more picking up the stick says his last words of bringing the villain to judgment by the law, now attacking him with his other hand, while the villain just stands smiling there. With his another slick of his hand Kang's brother whole body explodes into an lump of meat ball. His cap is the only thing left. Now the villain standing in the midst of the destruction he caused. Watching his cap fallen says he has to ask Seo Kong for the answer. Back in the present, stared at the paused video on the tablet, face pale with shock. So at that moment, a voice narrated, Huang Sung-hwan and the mysterious EMP attack caused the control devices installed on the death row inmates on all the floors to be released. An exterior shot of the imposing Lucullus prison followed. We managed to prevent the prisoners from escaping, but there are still numerous prison officers locked up with the prisoners. Seo Kong-yu's face was shown in profile. Who was responsible for the EMP attack? The blonde woman, a thoughtful expression on her face. That's still under investigation. The blonde woman knelt before Seo Kong-yu. I'm really sorry to ask you this at your Hyung's funeral, but can you put an end to the riot in Lucullus prison? Seo Kong-yu's lower face was shown. Of course. The blonde woman's intense red eyes met his. I just have one condition. A chaotic prison environment. A desperate voice cries out, open the door. Seo thinking, a hero job is to save not to kill. Why a prisoner killing another person in chaos? Gates of the prison opening while all prisoners watches the gate open. All prisoners running for the open gate to escape smiling as thinking as they have finally escaped. A blast from the door sent all the inmates flying back, which makes all other in shock, now seeing a lone figure standing at the open gate, with a hat of prisoner officer welcoming them with rage. Seo Kong came to prison. Everyone in disbelief, asking why a hero wearing a PO uniform. All inmates got excited to meet him as activated their powers to kill him, They all lunged at him together while Seo stands there only moving his right hand making a fist, charging it with his full power and throwing it, making a huge hole in the prisoner and its shockwave killing all other behind him. Their bodies sent flying backwards. All other inmates in fear of seeing his power in action and bodies laying in floor, not able to believe what they saw. Seo taking deep breath after one attack says that now under government orders, starting from first floor, basement 1, basement 2, basement 3, basement 4 and basement 5 with the main villain sitting on the lump of bodies, he will take over his young's work. With Seo Kong intense rage, "We'll be beginning execution," they cried, the reality of execution dawning on them. A chorus of denial erupted, Seo Kong standing with no reply. "This peanut, are you going to kill us?" His question hung heavy. "After you killed so many people, do you still think it's unfair for you to die?" Them arguing even more to themselves, Kellida roared. "I didn't even kill that many of them." Brooks insisted his victims were countable on 2 hands, while Cade, a child kidnapper and murderer, sneered he could count on his 1 hand. Their desperation flared in the sense of danger in front of their eyes cursing him, while a figure with green hair thinks of how noisy it is. He makes a plan while Seo is distracted with other inmates yelling at him in anger. He activating his power with blue light coming from his eyes and legs, a burst of speed finding a way in between the inmates and going past Seo in an instant, thinking he could make an escape. Suddenly Seo's foot came to his face kicking him and exploding his head while other inmates watch in fear. Seo finally speaking taking step forward. He will give them choice of locking themselves up in cell or die by his hands right now. Inmates shocked by his statement. "Naturally, it's the latter, isn't it?" came the grim reply. Accepting their grim odds, a spark of rebellion ignited. "We die either way. It's better to die by rebelling." One questioned the point of negotiation, only to be met with a cold, "It's not a negotiation. The last thing SEO can offer is mercifulness." Panic surged saying he is going to kill everyone and why a hero is here. The man who spoke straight his ability which made his mouth glow green. And sudden burst of sound from his mouth made everyone quiet and look at him. "Focus," the tattooed man declared. "Even if you're a hero from equality, there's no need to make a deal with just one strong man." Hope flickered as a prisoner recalled, "I've actually killed a tier 2 hero through just teamwork." Everyone grinning as they got away to deal with Seo. "That's right, there's no need for you all to be scared. Let's kill him and regain our freedom." Seo in anger says, "The trash chief saying it." A stern woman explained the facility's grim hierarchy. Lucullus prison separates prison depending on the level of danger. On the first floor, they're the ones who killed many people. There's more than 300 serial killers there. On the first floor basement, there are 100 of those who have put towns in danger. On the second floor basement, more than 30 people have put the metropolis in danger. On the third floor basement, there are 10 people who have put the nation in danger. On the fourth floor basement, 5 people have put the continent in danger. On the 5th floor basement, there are 3 people, including Huang Sungwan, who have put the world in danger. A lot. Still, the number of people to deal with will be much smaller. Her explaining further, on second floor 2 figures standing and controlling many prisoners saying, "Confess your sins." She continues, on 5th floor they are not friendly to each other. A woman sitting calmly while other approaches her with a meatball in his hand in shock that there was already someone there. The woman with white hair and striking blue eyes observed the scene before her. Villain grinning and saying that now he could pass some time until Seo comes. "However," she mused, "the first floor is unique. There is unity around this person." A man with a rugged appearance holding a sign identifying him as Hillison. He possesses a special skill that strengthens his comrades through the sound he makes. Glowing red eyes leveled an accusation. "You attacked a hospital with 30 colleagues and killed 7 people. Along with Tier 2 hero Hayes. IT amounts to a total of 8-10 people. That hero was pregnant with twins." The figure in the red-eyed uniform then mused, a dangerous glint in their eyes. Him asking Chief in front of prisoners, "I think I'll need to use some strength. How strong is this prison?" A disembodied voice responded with absolute certainty, "Whatever you do, IT won't collapse, I guarantee you." "Then," they declared, a manic energy building, "there's no need to control my strength." "What a bluff," he muttered. Accusations flew. "You didn't even do anything while being a hero in equality. You also caught Huang Sungwan with a last-ditch effort by using your colleagues as bait, right? We'll send you to your co-workers," one sneered, the implication clear. He uses his power now in red color, ordering the inmates to kill. A surge of adrenaline seemed to grip the prisoners. "I'm overflowing with strength," he declared. "Everyone, attack!" As the red-eyed figure lunged forward, spreading the red energy throughout the prison floor, making all the prisoners shredded in bits. One by one, everyone was dying in front of the other prisoners. A prisoner caught in the onslaught could only utter in terror, what? The brutal reality of the attack was laid bare. A wide panel showed numerous prisoners in yellow jumpsuits lying lifeless on the ground. The sheer horror of the scene was punctuated by a raw exclamation. Charging his leg, controlling all the energy in his foot, slams the floor, which made all his energy disperse into the last bit left. Inmates sent them flying. The focus shifted abruptly. A vista of a large, imposing structure under a warm sky gave way to a close-up of a hand on a glowing blue metallic surface, and finally to a figure huddled in dejection in a dimly lit urban setting. A close-up of a man's face filled the frame, his eyes wide with shock and a muzzle covering his mouth. Then, a primal scream ripped through the silence. A close-up of a man's face showed his teeth clenched in pain, his eyes squeezed shut, and sweat beading on his brow. Seo lunging towards the prisoners with his red fist, a chilling word. Mod! Charging his fist. The chaos continued. A maelstrom of red and black energy tore through the prison, the red and black energy now forming a vortex, tearing through the environment. Below, the single word, circle, appeared. Numerous figures in yellow jumpsuits were suspended and pierced by thick, sharp, dark red lines that crisscrossed the frame, while Seo dashing forward with his red fist claws. A close-up showed a man's face looking upwards with an expression of intense pain and shock, caught within this deadly web of red lines. Way expressed the impossibility of the scene unfolding before them. The perspective shifted, showing the carnage from the viewpoint of the figure in the dark uniform. Another perspective showed the sheer scale of the massacre. A pile of bodies in yellow jumpsuits lay strewn across the floor. The figure in the dark uniform spoke. "First floor, execution complete. Let's move on to solitary confinement."